Hey, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Brand OTC, where we answer your branding questions with a faux over-the-counter product. Now, today's product is a candy bar, a part of our myths and misconceptions series that we're doing. And today we're focusing on the misconception that branding is only about visuals. All right, again, misconception, not true. So, hi, my name is Cynthia Akita. I am your brand strategist, designer, and educator here at the Design Firmacy. And today we are focusing on the misconception that branding is only about visuals. So, if you're someone who's ever thought branding is all about how things look, this episode is the one for you. This is for the brands that think pretty equals powerful. All right, so let's get into it. Sorry. So while visuals do matter, it's just the surface of something that is much deeper in your brand's identity. So when you have a pretty logo or a polished feed, it may grab attention, which is great. But if there's no substance behind that design, it's not going to build trust and it's definitely not going to convert. I I know at some point in your life, you have either seen a movie or met someone who was just so gorgeous, just so beautiful on the outside or so handsome on the outside. But the moment they opened up their mouth, you were just like, what in the world? The face does not match the voice, or the face does not match the personality or the character of the person. And the same thing applies to your brand because your brand is as though you're building an invisible representative of your business. And so you can think of it as a person, something that's living and breathing, because that's what humans relate to. We relate, we have relationships, and a brand is something that people have a relationship with. And so kind of change your perception of that, of what branding is and how it relates to your audience, and think of it as a person that's living and breathing and interacting with your prospects and your audience. Now, your visuals are only one piece of the branding puzzle. And so if you're thinking of it as a person in the same way that we have our eyes are for seeing, right? They're for observing, they're for noticing things. Our ears are for hearing, listening to music and all of those things, right? Our mouth is for tasting things and for speaking. Every part of our body has its role, has its function, has the thing that makes it such a vital component of the entire body. And visuals are just one piece of the entire body. It is not the entire thing, right? So you cannot rely on just the aesthetics alone because it'll create confusion and inconsistency because the other parts of the body matter and the other parts of the body have a role that they have to play for the betterment of the entire brand. So when you have your visual identity typically is like your logo, your colors, your fonts, icons, patterns, things of that type. But your brand's identity covers you as a whole. Now, if you are into our brand vitals framework, we kind of push those two things together just so that you guys don't get so confused, but they are essentially part of each other. So your brand's identity is like your identity as a whole, as a person, whereas the visual part or visual components are just, the things that I mentioned prior. So when you focus solely on your visual identity, your audience misses out on the substance that you carry. And I know that your brand carries substance. You're not just about your colors. You're more than your colors. You're more than your fonts. You have a message. And that is the thing that your audience connects with. They connect with the thing that comes out of your brand's mouth. And so you don't want to neglect that and just focus on the visual portions because you're just going to miss the people who actually need whatever it is that you have to offer. Now, here are some signs that you may be trapped in that visuals equals a brand mindset. So maybe you've spent thousands of dollars on logos, templates, mockups, but you're still unclear. Or maybe you're changing your brand colors every few months, hoping something will click, right? I'm sure we've all gone through that cycle at a point, at one time or another. Or maybe you feel polished online, but you struggle to articulate what your brand actually does. And finally, maybe, people compliment your feed, but it doesn't convert into paying clients. And that is the worst thing. Putting all your energy and your effort into something and it not getting that ROI that you would like. Those are all signs that you're trapped potentially in that visuals equals a brand mindset. Now, let's get into some steps, to build a brand that is more than just a mood board, right? Because we love mood boards so much. We love the visual things. It's just a part of who we are. But we have to use a level of discipline in order to sit down and say, hey, I really need to build the proper foundation for my business before I get caught up in all the visuals and all those things. So, when you want to start with your brand core, all right, your brand core, the core of your body plays a vital, vital role. It helps you to stand up straight. It keeps you, or it prevents falling down. It helps with your posture. It's so important for your body physically, but also for your brand. So when you focus on your brand core, you want to clarify what your purpose is. You want to think about your values as a brand. You want to think about the beliefs that you have or your philosophies as well. Those are the things that really anchor your brand. Those are the things that help your brand to stand for something. Those are the things that people can relate to when you're building your brand and when you're speaking that message out there. Those are the things that people will relate to. The next is you want to define your brand's positioning. So you really have to nail down what sets you apart, what your secret sauce or brand butter is, who you're serving, which is your audience, and why they should choose you. Because there are a sea of makeup artists, there are a sea of home like home departments like a Home Depot or Lowe's. There are a sea of florists in the world. There are a sea of tech companies, a sea of designers. Every industry is saturated, okay? Mostly every industry is saturated. There is going to be at least one other person who does what you do, right? But you have to know why people should choose you instead of your competition. Number three, you want to craft a compelling brand persona. And your persona is the personality of your brand. So a brand can have a tone of voice. It's the way that you communicate with your audience. It has its own language. It has attitude. It has energy. Some brands have like some spunk or, some spice. They're spicy in the way that they speak. And you can also have that too, but it's something that needs to be configured before you start talking to other people. The fourth thing is that you need to use your visuals as an expression. It's not the end all be all. So your brand's look is going to reflect who you are and not replace that clarity that you should have. And so as an example, you as a person, you are who you are, your character, your story, your history. You are who you are. And whatever you decide to put on your face is just an additional expression of that. So for me personally, I'm not so big on like makeup, but when I do get makeup, I'm typically looking for something that's a bit more natural, a bit more nude, because I want to look most like myself, right? So that makeup is just an addition to who I already am. It's just a tiny outward expression of what's already inside of me. And the same should apply to your brand visuals as well. Number five, align your message with your visuals. The foundation sets the pace for everything else that you do within your business. So you want to make sure that what you say and what you show tell the same type of story. You don't want to, let me see, you don't want to talk about swimming classes and then on your graphics you have like fire everywhere, right? Because those two things are like the opposite essentially. So you want to make sure what you say and what you show tell the same story. Because a beautiful brand with no substance is just noise in a pretty package. And we do not want to just be pretty packages. We want to have that substance, the thing that makes people stay and want to get to know more of us. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Once again, please, please, please go and take your brand vitals assessment and figure out where you stand so that we can help you deepen your brand and get more clarity. Visit mybrandvitals.com for that, and I will catch you all in the next episode. Bye. You're doing all the things: posting content, updating your website, running ads, tweaking your offers, but still wondering, why isn't this working? Truth is, you might be focusing on areas that look productive, but aren't actually moving the needle. The Brand Vitals assessment helps you stop guessing and start targeting. It's like a wellness checkup, but for your brand. You'll gain crystal clear insight into the 9 essential areas every brand needs to thrive. No fluff, no filler, just facts about where your brand stands and what needs your focus. Because clarity is the first step to real momentum. And when you know where to focus, you start to see progress, not just activity. Get out of busy work. Get into brand building that actually works. Take the Brand Vitals assessment now. Have you tapped into your Firmacy benefits? As a beneficiary, you unlock special offers, gifts, and always stay in the loop. Subscribe today to receive your exclusive dose. Visit firmacybenefits.com.